This brief presentation on the education sector in Kenya looks at the state of play, the challenges, and also provides some policy recommendations to address the identified challenges. Education is essential in promoting social, political, and economic development. It's very important in combating poverty, empowering women, as well as promoting human rights. Worldwide, it's known that education is the ultimate basis for wealth of nations through the accumulation of capital, the exploitation of natural resources, socioeconomic and political organization, as it contributes to national development. The Bill of Rights in the Constitution of Kenya, Article 43, under the social and economic rights, states that every person has a right to education. The education sector vision in Kenya is a globally competitive education, training, research, and innovation system for sustainable development. The policy on education in Kenya focuses a lot around access to education, though it's also very, very important that issues of quality and affordability are put into consideration. Kenya has, by the year 2016, a total of 25,175 primary learning institutions, 22,939 primary schools, and 8,592 secondary schools. When you look at higher learning institutions, by the year 2016, we had 816 public youth polytechnics in Kenya and 62 public technical and vocational education and training institutions. This number of institutions actually reduced even as we move higher to the national polytechnic levels and to the level of public university, which is a concern given the fact that the number of institutions keep on reducing, which would mean that should, for instance, all the students who join primary school graduate to the levels above, then as a country we end up having an inadequate number of institutions for those who want to pursue higher learning in the education. Pupil enrollment in early childhood education has increased tremendously from 2.7 million in the year 2012 to 3.2 million in the year 2016. Out of these, the number of male students tend to be a little bit higher compared to that of the female students. By the year 2016, we had a total of 1.6 million students who are male and 1.5 who are female. Enrollment in primary school has also increased tremendously. In the year 2012, we had 9.7 million, and by the year 2016, we had 10.2 million. Out of these, in the year 2016, 5.2 million were actually male and 5.05 million were female students. Of concern also and importance is the completion rates and the transition from primary to secondary school. The pupil completion rate has actually been around an average of 82%. By the year 2016, we had a completion rate of 83.5%. Transition rates in the year 2012 was at 64.5%. This has increased over time to 76.1% in the year 2014, and by the year 2016, it was at 81.3%. This shows that there is need for policy interventions to ensure that we have high transition rates as well as completion rates. Student enrollment in technical institutions between the year 2012 and 2016 has also increased. By the year 2016, enrollment was at 202,556. This increased from 127,691 in the year 2012. The government has over time provided loans to students who are studying under technical vocational education and training. And in the year 2014-2015 and the years 2015-2016, the government actually did provide 100% loans to students who had actually applied for bursaries. When it comes to the public universities, the government has also been providing loans to both the male and female students. Looking at expenditure in the sector, a huge percentage of expenditure actually goes towards Teacher Service Commission, and this is mainly recurrent expenditure. This is understandable given the fact that the sector is actually in public service delivery, and thus the need to ensure that adequate number of teachers are available and that they are paid to provide for these particular services. However, we do identify some challenges in the education sector that need to be addressed through policy. Under early childhood development education, we have insufficient number of trained teachers, inadequate number of learning centers, limited availability of teaching and learning materials, low morale of teaching staff, and lack of a common scheme of service for the teachers. And there is need to address this through policy. The government, since the year 2013, actually provided free primary education, but the big question has been, is this really free? Given the fact that parents are still paying for fee for some services which they are not supposed to be paying for. Parents in some areas of this country actually still pay money for teacher motivation and even for students' report card. One of the challenges under FPE is maintaining quality in service provision. The challenge of teacher deployment. There is inequitable distribution of teachers in the country, and also the challenge of infrastructure demand, given the fact that the number of students have actually increased, given that education is free. Under special needs education, there is inadequate number of specialized expertise and teachers. Under alternative provision to basic education and training, there is lack of policy and service standard guidelines. There is weak management of institutions for proper transparency and accountability, and also the challenge of untrained teachers. Though free primary education has led to increased enrollment of students, the expansion of secondary education has not been commensurate with that of primary education, and there is need actually to put up more infrastructure to enable those transiting from primary level to actually gain access to education services. The government also provides free day secondary education, though there is still the imposition of levies and other fees by some schools. And as the country moves towards building a skilled labor force, the challenge of converting technical and vocational education and training colleges to universities is turning out to be a reality, given the fact that we do require more technical colleges for those who are not able to make it to the university level. Of concern also is inefficiency and poor governance due to weak monitoring, and this is mainly as a result of inadequate number of quality assurance officers at the county level, and this can actually partly explain the reason why the country has been facing challenges with the management of free primary education program. So what then are the issues for policy consideration? When you are looking at access and quality of education, there is need for increased investment and expansion or rehabilitation of physical facilities at all levels. The government should consider investing in educational innovation to improve the quality of the education at primary level. The issue of recruitment of teachers should be given great consideration so as to address the shortfall in teachers, as this is important for improved access and the quality of services in the sector. There is also need for partnership with stakeholders, including the non-government organization and community-based organizations, which are important in mobilizing and educating the beneficiaries on the importance of education, their role, and even their entitlement. It's also important that the government puts into consideration equitable deployment of teachers to schools. And at TVET, the need to establish more technical institutions, and as I said earlier, the need to develop infrastructure. Finally, it's very, very important that we build a skilled workforce by supplying trained teachers to meet the demand. And last but not least, recognition of the strong correlation between education and the socioeconomic development should be seen in increased public spending on education for effective implementation. It is important that all investments made towards education focus on quality, access, equity, inclusivity, relevance, and promotion of innovation.